Welcome back, Daydreamers. This is Justin, your ragtag daydreamer, and we're going to daydream a little bit more about my Japan trip, which is less than a week away. Welcome to my channel. We're going on an adventure to Japan. Wow! Now, the big question on the internet, not necessarily directly on my page, a couple of messages over the last 6 months, but nothing, nothing big, But it does come up on the internet to other people who are much more well known than I am. What are you going to do about your tattoos when you're in Japan? What are you going to do about your tattoos? Don't you know they're illegal? So first off, tattoos are not illegal in Japan. They're not illegal. The story goes, or at least the story that I know as to why there's a problem with tattoos in Japan at all is usually it's native people having tattoos, because traditionally in the Japanese culture, if you were to get traditional works from a Japanese tattoo artist, the koi, oni, demons, dragons, kirin, different mythical beasts, samurai, things like that. It came from the samurai era, but the samurai clans were pretty much disbanded once the nation of Japan was no longer in war. Once they had a emperor and they were united and things like that, they basically they had no reason to have these warring samurai clans. Some of these people who were at least associated with some of these clans that were disbanded or otherwise told that they were no longer to war, they turned to other things to make money. Some of these people, that's where the culture came from. It's not that all samurai clans did this. Please don't get me wrong. But some people who were a part of the culture of that time, when they could no longer devote their lives to war, they didn't know what to do with themselves. And that essentially turned into organized crime. And organized crime here in the States is a lot of people have heard of the mafia. It's a lot of Italian, kind of stuff. At least that's what's been in pop culture. Movies and things like that were made about the Italian mob and mafia and things like that. And we have some pretty famous people like Al Capone, but in Japan, they didn't have really any immigrants until about the last, 60, 70 years. So what do? You don't have an Italian mob moving in. You've got these people who used to be warriors, and now they're looking for, use the trade skills that they learned as a warrior, and they turned to this life of crime and basically created organized crime in Japan. Organized crime in Japan is not called the mob or mafia, it's called Yakuza. So, I told you all of that to tell you that. The tattoo thing, that's where it comes from. So, traditionally, if someone has tattoos, they were not looked at as a warriors of, great nobility after that. They were gangsters. They were crime people. Crime people? Crime people. And so that's what the Japanese people really expect out of anyone that they see, locals at least, who have tattoos. Foreigners are a different story. Foreigners with tattoos are a much different story because these people, they're not idiots. I mean, that's where most of our technology comes from. These are brilliant, smart, wonderful, talented and artistic people. So they're not prudes. They're scared essentially, and it's a deep seated scare. So you have to take into consideration someone or a specific region, even in the United States. You can have really, really nice people, but let's say you're in an area where there's always been a problem with gang violence. Gang violence, okay? And this is a little risky, but if that in that area with gang violence, it was only a certain person and a certain look to a certain person. Maybe it was colors, gang colors. Some gangs are exclusive to race. Things like that. That neighborhood is going to be very anti that type of visual indicator, because even if somebody has no idea what they're wearing or isn't from around there but happens to be part of the race that gang is made up of, the people who are local in that area, they're just under that stigma of, every time I see this person who looks this way, that's danger. That's a risk of violence or harm to me and my property, and I'm uncomfortable. You can't really blame either party in that, because it's just it that is the community that they came from. That's what they became used to seeing. It's not a personal slight against this other person for looking the way they do. It's just it's what it is. So I wouldn't blame any Japanese person to give me the stink eye whenever they saw that I had tattoos, because I understand that is a deep-seated part of their culture that I had nothing to do with, so I don't feel guilty about it. But at the same time, I'm not going to be offended about it if somebody gives me a hard time. That being said, I did some research, and mainly what I found was women with tattoos visiting Japan. And what I saw was some stuff that I already know, which is most bathhouses or anything where you have to get naked and go and enjoy yourself in a hot tub or hot spring or mineral water or what have you, onsens, things like that. Most of them, no tattoos. They will stop you at the door, give you the big arm X, and it is a big no-go. And the biggest thing is that whenever you go into one of those places, you will have to be naked with other people. And they have a word for it, and it eludes me now, but they have a word for it, and it basically means that, we're all on the same page, we're all on the same level. You're naked as I am naked. It's uncomfortable, but it's to get this lovely bath, and it's worth it. We should not judge each other. We should just enjoy the moment. So I realized that that's not really going to be an option. That's why I wanted to go to Dogo Onsen. And I do have that planned out. I should be able to make it out there, and it'll just be a matter of if I can get in or if they're too busy and I miss my opportunity. Dogo Onsen does allow foreigners with tattoos. So they are a little more progressive than most of the country, where it's all or nothing. And that's pretty great, because it means a lot to me to be able to go and visit this place and to experience this bathhouse, because I know that Miyazaki-san from Studio Ghibli, he also enjoyed this place. He allowed it to inspire him to create Spirited Away, which is one of my, that Princess Mononoke, those are two of my favorite Studio Ghibli films. They just never get old. So what inspired me to talk to you about tattoos in Japan today is really because I found out that my 7-day rail pass, I did some poor math. I have it activated from the 17th to the 23rd. And you're thinking, but 17 plus 7 is 24. So why is it only active for 6 days? That's what I thought too. And then I realized that whenever you're counting days, especially on a start day and stop day, you're counting from, the 0 marker. So it's not okay, I'm starting on the 17th, 18th, 19th. Nope. It's 17th, 18th, 19th, 20, 21, 22, 23. So I was a day off on when I needed to use the JR pass. I'm going to lose about $13 from the booking that I have in Kyoto, because I'll have to leave a day early, that's fine. $13. You know what? No problem. That's like an idiot tax. It's fine. I planned on staying in a capsule hotel when I got back to Tokyo anyway, because I wanted to get that experience as well. And I remember seeing once upon a time a place that I think it was called Capsule Hotel Dandy, and it reminds me of Space Dandy, because it's an all-male capsule hotel, and they also have saunas and like a little mini onsen kind of area, and it seems really, really neat. So I did book there. Now, after I booked, and I looked at a lot of the instructions and the different rules and things like that before I booked it, but after I booked, I decided to check back again with some other sites what their rules for tattoos are. Because it does have a bath area, and sometimes it's a no-go. So because of that, I was a little timid. I wanted to really just double down and check some other sites. There's some other spots where, in like the fine print, it says no tattoos allowed. I didn't find any of that on their official site. I didn't find anything on my booking, but I did find it on other sites and other proxy sites where you can buy rooms through, or rent rooms from them, and things like that. I did find some stuff that said no tattoos. So very, very mixed. I'm going to take that as they are okay with foreigners with tattoos, but they are not okay with Japanese with tattoos. I really, I hope that I don't have a problem. If I do have a problem, I've already looked up with, some other internet searches that apparently there's one called 9 Hours. It's not like a sauna resort for men kind of thing like Hotel Dandy, but it is a capsule hotel. So at least I can, experience a capsule hotel. They're fine with tattoos. They're okay with it. But yeah, it's 9 Hours. So if this one doesn't work out, I'll just have to move to that one. Hopefully I can get my money back. Who knows? So just in case you guys were wondering, I know that if I bring my arm up or something like that, you can see that I have tattoos. I actually have a full haunted house, like half sleeve. And my character, yeah, this is me. That's my character, the bearded lady from the haunted house I work at, Dead Man's Farm. And I spent I think 5 or 6 years being that character. I've spent 10 years over my whole life altogether. 8 years with Dead Man's and 2 years elsewhere with just volunteer haunted houses. So whenever I hit 10 years of participating in a haunted house of some sort, I decided that was pretty well worth it. Then I've got the Claddagh. Goes around the arm. I've got my first tattoo, little griffin, little line work griffin. This is my book arm. So I've got Matthias from Redwall. I've got the crow and little buttons. The buttons that Randall Flagg wore on his vest in The Stand. Randall Flagg turned into a crow, and then the whirling mass of the rose from the Dark Tower. The Dark Mark, yeah, right there, and then Fremen, it's upside down, but Fremen eyes. Fremen are a group of people from Dune, where the spice made their eyes, even the whites of their eyes turn blue. I guess I could show you this one right here. I've got this one on my sternum. I've got tattoos across my chest. I've got on my upper back. I've got bees on both my knees. I've got a Bender tattoo on my leg. A Princess Mononoke tattoo, a star. I've got the tops of my feet done. I'm not going to be able to hide my tattoos. If I go anywhere, I'm not going to be able to hide them. Something is going to show, and if any little small part of anything shows, like that's just it. You might as well be completely covered head to toe. We'll wait and see, and I'll definitely be, vlogging a lot while I'm there, taking lots of pictures. So speaking of that, I will be taking a lot of pictures and posting them to my Instagram while I'm in Japan. If you want to follow along with me, feel free to look in the description below and like my Instagram page. I also have a Facebook page, and I have never talked to anybody, but I do post things on Twitter for Ragtag Daydreams. I really appreciate all of your attention, and you're watching this series. If anybody's actually seen all of my videos, thank you so much for just the support of watching what I put up here. The Road to Fuji series is pretty much done with this episode. I will be culminating the Road to Fuji with actually filming things and taking pictures and doing things while I am in Japan, and that is the big finish. After which, I'm going to be devoting all of my time in making videos about this great hobby of Gunpla, Gundam models. So I really hope that if you're at all interested in that, you stick around, and if not, I understand, and I really appreciate your support. Until next time, Daydreamers, I'm Justin, your Ragtag Daydreamer. We'll see you in Japan.